Commentary Booth is a show for media lovers by media lovers just like you. If you want to support the show, go to pariomagazine.com.au. Welcome to the Commentary Booth, where we watch and, you guessed it, commentate on the week that was in movies and TV. I'm your host and play-by-play commentator Jamie Jaxon, and each week I'll be joined by a rotating cast of color commentators to help you find your next viewing treat. This week I'm joined by a DJ who lists his favourite movie as Top Gun Maverick and favourite TV show as Parks and Rec. Welcome back to the show, the man with the mullet and mo, Jaxon Carr.
My friend, how are you?
I'm pretty good. Yourself?
I'm a bit worse for wear, for being honest. Had a massive weekend in Melbourne, but what you do down there apparently when you go to clubs, so it was good.
Yeah, it looked like you were all over the place based on your TikTok.
Yeah, so I went to Jack Hull on the Friday night, and then a friend from Sydney was playing a place called Pawn and Coast, went there, and then another friend was playing a place called Electric, went there, and they were like, "Oh, you're too underdressed, you can't get in." So I messaged generic Tyson because I know he plays there. I was like, "Oh, hey, I can't get in." Meanwhile, he's in Ibiza, so like, it's not around. He just goes.
It's not like he's just inside, can come and grab you.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, just say this name and say my name. Walked up the security guard, the big scary one, and I was like, "Oh, hey, I know Tyson," and he's like, "Yep, come in." And then that was fun. And then Saturday I went to like a day party, watched the Sharks. Don't really remember watched the Sharks. Then went to another club, and then Sunday I was feeling very worse for wear and slept for about 13 hours. So good times.
That's a big sleep. Well done.
Thanks.
So this week we're going to bring the thunder with our review of Thor Love and Thunder. And then we're going to talk about we're going to close out our review of Miss Marvel, since we only did 3 episodes last time. We can cover up the last 3 and the major revelation that was in that show and the implications for MCU Phase 5 and 6. And then we'll close out the episode with our first impressions of Nathan Fielder's new show, The Rehearsal.
Oh, what a guy. What a weird guy.
It's definitely something.
Yeah.
So we'll dive into the biggest and latest Marvel release, Thor Love and Thunder, 2022 film directed by Taika Waititi. Again, focusing on Chris Hemsworth's Thor. I looked it up. It's the 29th film in the MCU, the 4th Thor film, sequel to 2017 Thor Ragnarok. What did you think of the movie on the top level?
I saw it twice. I went to the movies and I saw it twice.
Wow, so you enjoyed this movie a lot from the sound.
Yes, so I heard all the reviews about it, and I didn't know what to expect. And I went and saw it just like a Thursday night. I just really liked how pure it was, like the storyline, just everything he was going through at the start. And then second time I went on a date, so like it was fine. But I thought it was appropriate considering like the premise at the start and what they're talking about. But I really enjoyed it. Like, I know it wasn't as good as Ragnarok and it wasn't as big as like the other ones, but it had some really good moments throughout it. And then there was also certain things like with the Maori god representation, which Taika obviously would have had like a lot of part in, which I know meant a lot to a lot of like Maori people I've seen online. I really liked like Korg, as you kind of like him, and like, yeah, I just thought it had a good storyline. And also when I was younger, I used to be fascinated by Greek gods and ancient Greece. So like obviously having like that in it as well, like, yeah, it was, I was a big fan of it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, laughed, even shed a few tears. Like overall I thought it was a great movie.
Oh, wow. I'm kind of on the, like, I can see like where it was enjoyable, but yeah, like you said, it was very much a smaller movie compared to what we've sort of come to expect from the MCU. I felt like it didn't really have any big implications for MCU moving forward, apart from like, we got the introduction of Mighty Thor, but then, spoiler, that disappears at the end. So I was kind of like, oh, okay. I think my biggest issue with it was the trailer and the movie aren't the same. Like, I felt like the trailer portrayed it as a much more comedy-focused Taika movie, whereas then the actual film is much more kind of serious and a little bit sad.
Oh yeah.
And I hate the screaming goats. I hated the screaming goats.
Yeah, they were hella annoying, and I was kind of happy that like we didn't have to have too much of the Guardians in it because obviously they're a separate thing, and like, but yeah, the goats were just hella annoying. Like, I
Like
don't know, but yeah,
I thought they were funny at first, but then they just kept going back to the goats. I was like, okay, I don't
yeah,
need more goats. That's enough.
yeah, just went for too long. But yeah, it was yeah, they're really
And
nice.
I was shocked that there was as little Guardians as there was as well. Like the trailer is pretty much all like suggesting that this was like a big Thor Guardians team up, and it really wasn't. It was
Yeah,
like 10 minutes of Guardians, and then they peace out, fly off onto the next Guardians movie, basically,
yeah.
which was a bit
I
weird.
kind of like without spoiling for myself, like as we brought up, my ex worked on it, so she was telling me like she didn't really know who Batista was, or she knew who Chris Pratt was because she calls him the bad Chris, but she was like they were only here for like a week or two, like they were yeah, because all these religious stuff, but they were only here for like a week or two, so like I obviously don't know how long it takes to film a movie because effects take longer, but the fact that they weren't here for too long, I didn't really think much about it, but then once it happened, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like they were only going to be in it for like a small part of it.
Yeah, they came in, filmed their little 10-15 minute bit on the green
Yeah,
screen, and then left.
yeah. Someone's got photos with Batista at Bondi Beach, and then people post TikToks being like, "Who is this man? Why is everyone obsessed with him?" And then they just left. So much like the characters in the movie.
Yeah, see ya. Um, in terms of the cast, what did you think of Chris Hemsworth coming back as Thor?
I love Chris Hemsworth. I was very impressed by it. Um,
He was huge in
Natalie
this movie.
Portman
So big.
he was massive. He was massive. Like whoa. Christian Bale.
Yeah, I was going to say Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher. I thought that was really cool. I did hear a lot of talk about the character, like the way they designed him was quite different to how he looks in the comics. But apparently that was
Yeah.
because the comic version looks way too similar to Voldemort.
Oh, yep.
So
Makes
they
sense.
had to change the way he looks in the movie, which I, as someone that hadn't read the comics, didn't have an issue with it. I thought
Yeah,
he looked like a really creepy bad guy. So it was fine by me.
he did. And I've seen some things. He's gone through. He can go through so many transformations for whatever movie he needs to be in. Like he can be fat, he can be skinny, he can be like he's the most versatile actor of like his generation when it comes through like figuring out what he's going to do for his body for a movie. Like ridiculous.
Oh yeah, when he signs on for a role, he commits hardcore into I'm not wearing a fat suit. You're not
Yeah.
CGIing to make me look skinnier. Like I'm going to commit and lose all this weight or put on a ton of weight just so that I fit the role, which is nuts. Like you
Yeah.
see some of those photos of this is the same guy in two separate movies. And you're like, how? What?
Yeah. Ridiculous. I saw like a meme or a TikTok, and it was just like 8 of his characters or something, and it's just like, yeah, he's insane. And like in the 8 of his characters, they didn't even include whatever the bad guy's name was. Like yeah, it was just insane seeing what he does.
What did you think of the sort of the God Butcher storyline in terms of like? I feel like his whole motive was vengeance because the gods didn't. They kind of just did nothing and let his daughter die. So he was just like, right, okay, now all of the gods everywhere have to die.
Yeah, I guess when you feel the pain of your daughter dying, he's just and he had this thing that could just kill the gods. I think he was just like, I'm just going to go for gold, so I'm just going to like do it.
Who else was in the movie? Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie and Natalie Portman as Jane Foster, and then becoming Mighty Thor. Again, two more actors that they got pretty jacked out for these roles. What did you think of those two?
Natalie Portman was one of my crushes growing up as an actress. Like I was obsessed with her, Beef Vendetta, the Star Wars movies and stuff. So anything she's in, I'll just enjoy because yeah, you always remember them. You know, growing up, little teenage boy full of whatever you're full of. So yeah, no, I liked them both. I think they were great.
Yeah, I did see a funny little story that came out of this movie. Apparently, because Taika is directing a future Star Wars movie, apparently he asked
Oh.
Natalie on set if she wanted to, if she ever thought about being in a Star Wars movie, and she was like, "I've been in 3."
Oh
So
wow.
that's a bit funny. And then Taika in his own movie as Korg. I did think Korg was probably the highlight of the movie in certain sections, especially when he gets like, you think he might be dead. I thought that was a pretty intense scene.
Oh, oh, that was horrible. That was the worst part of the whole movie. And then the best part was when you realize he wasn't. But yeah, and I felt in the whole movie, Korg was great, like always great comic relief. There was a nice representation to like the LGBTQ community as well, because obviously Valkyrie, like lesbian, and then like Korg, as you find out, a Korg gets born when two rock men stand over a fire for 30 days and they have like that. So that there was really good representation, not just of like LGBTQ, like Maoris, like all. It was just a really, it's just Taika just being Taika, just putting a lot of like emphasis on cultures that might not get as much mainstream exposure or spoken about in like a nice way. So yeah, I thought that was great.
I did read that the Korg saying he had two dads contradicts one of the previous Thor movies, though, where he says he has a
Oh
mom.
really?
So,
Oh really?
like, whoops, Kevin Feige
Maybe it was
slipped
a
up there.
stepmom.
And then one of the other ones that other characters I thought was really cool was Russell Crowe as Zeus. Watching him
Oh yeah.
prance around in a skirt was hilarious. The
Like
accent
as
was a
soon
bit
as I
off,
saw
but
Russell Crowe, yeah, it was off. As soon as I saw Russell Crowe, I was just like, oh, that makes sense why Taika and Chris were at the Souths game with Russell Crowe, three of the Thor actors together. So
and then we mentioned the Guardians of the Galaxy make their little cameo for the first like 5 or 10 minutes of the movie, but then there was a bunch of other cameos. Did you pick up on all of those?
no, I saw it twice
So,
and that.
so the first one was Kat Dennings playing Darcy Lewis, and the girl from WandaVision, like the scientist girl from WandaVision.
Oh, yeah.
So she
Oh,
was
yeah,
in it.
that's right. She was only, yeah. Oh, she
She
was
was in
sitting there when she was, yeah,
at the chemo. Yeah.
yeah, the chemo area, bringing all the snacks.
Yep. So she's like, it is the what you think of when you think of cameo, because she's there for like 2 scenes and then she's gone,
Yeah, yeah.
never to be seen again. And then when we go to New Asgard, we see the theater troupe, the new Asgardian
Oh,
players.
yeah. That was so good. I
That
love them.
these were probably my favorite cameos of it. We had
Yeah.
Matt
Oh,
Damon
yeah, no, yeah, no.
playing actor Loki, Luke Hemsworth as actor Thor. Who else? Sam Neill as Odin, and then Melissa McCarthy as Hela. I was like, okay.
And then when Luke Hemsworth, and they come back after like all the kids have spoiler, all the kids are gone, and then they're like Valkyrie, oh, everyone loves theatre. We should do a theatre. We should do a show about this. She completely blanks them because she's like, shut up, idiots. And they're like, oh, that wasn't a no. Let's go start planning this now.
Yep. Yeah, I thought they were great. They were just so ridiculous, but still recognizable enough where you're like, wait, is that Matt Damon?
Yeah, yeah.
And then there was Chris Hemsworth. Really, the Hemsworth family got paid big for this movie, apparently. So obviously we
Really?
had Chris as Thor, his brother Luke as actor Thor, Chris Hemsworth's wife Elsa Pataki was Wolf Woman, who's in it for like one flashback scene. India Hemsworth, Chris's daughter, is Gore's daughter in the movie.
Yep.
Tristan Hemsworth, one of Chris's sons, is young Thor. Sasha Hemsworth, Chris's other son, is in the movie as one of the kids. One of Taika's kids, one of Natalie Portman's kids, and one of Christian Bale's kids all appear as like the kids that disappear. So it was like, because they filmed it in COVID, I assume they were just like, we can get these guys on the set because they've been following all the protocols at home anyway.
Did you know the kids helped design all the bad guys? Taika's daughter or son designed Christian Bale's bad guy, and then they just got the kids to help design all the bad guys. And Taika was getting interviewed in Australia, and he's like, "I got my daughter or son to do it," and then he's like, "What's better to design a bad guy, a scary bad guy in a dark universe than?" So like all the kids helped design. I don't know how much they did or whatever, but yeah, the kids. I don't know if they drew like a crayon drawing or something, helped design it, but like yeah, the kids had a big involvement not only with acting but also with designing of the scary bad guys.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess if they're thinking of a character that's going to steal kids, ask the kids what would be scary. Makes sense.
Wait, did I just have a fun fact that you did it about something?
Yeah, you did. You got me big brained. And then a couple of others. Idris Elba pops up as Heimdall at the very end. And then the post-credit cameo. What did you think of Brett Goldstein, who plays Roy Kent from Ted Lasso, as Hercules?
See, as soon as I saw that, I was like, you know, when you see an actor or an actress and you're like, who is this? I was like, who is this bloke? Where is he? And I quickly Googled it. And I was like, why is this? And people had, and then straight away I was like, oh, Roy King, how good. He'd be a good Hercules as well.
Yeah, so from the looks of it, we're getting another Thor movie. And looks like it's going to be Thor versus Hercules, which that sounds fun.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
Trying to think what else. What other notes did I have? Oh, lots of CGI in this movie, which with some of the recent controversies around Marvel and the way they treat their CGI artists is a little bit concerning.
Yeah.
Have you heard the sort of chatter about how they treat the CGI team? So basically a former Marvel VFX artist came out and did an interview and basically said that with the way the MCU is going, VFX is becoming way more important because a lot of the stuff now is CG. It's not physical sets or anything. And like a lot of the costumes are becoming sort of more simplified in what they actually wear, and then they go in afterwards and add depth and intricacies with CG. But in the interview, he also said that the way Marvel treat them is infamously awful. He says he was working 7 days a week, averaging 64 hours a week on a good week. And that he had co-workers sitting next to him that just broke down and started crying because of the intense workload that they were having put on them. And Marvel has become synonymous with very big, very late changes. So they've been at times being asked to change the final third of a movie with a month or two before the actual movie is due to release. So that's a lot of work getting pushed into a very short window at the end. And I think even in like Ms. Marvel and some of the TV shows, we're seeing VFX is becoming a lot more involved in those. Like WandaVision was very sort of simple and like just physical sets. And then Moon Knight, the entire costume was CG. And then Ms. Marvel, there's a lot of CG in that as well. So a little bit concerning that they're being so reliant on CG and VFX, but then not giving their artists the time to work on it. Like I understand why they want to push out so much stuff because it is so profitable, but I also think I would be happy with a big tentpole movie at the start and end of the year, and then in the middle put 2 shows, but have them don't stick to the 6, like push those out to maybe 10 or 12 episodes per season so that you can tell a more fleshed out story. And then, they can have 4 teams working on different things at the same time, and they're not overly stressing their VFX artists on, all right, we've got a show coming out this month and then a movie coming out a month after that. And then there's another show after that. It's like, it just sounds horrible work conditions.
Yeah. Like I heard stories from, because I had a few people that worked on the movie. Like I knew some people that were like runners, so they'd have to go and get like the snacks, or they'd have to go get whatever and I heard how hard they worked, and then obviously from my ex, I heard how much she had to do as well. So like the fact that everyone even lower down is getting treated like this, it doesn't surprise me if some of the most important people in the movie get treated like that as well. Like it just seems overworked, and
Yeah, like it just seems like they're trying to push out too much. Like I think we've had what 3 movies already this year, and it's only just turned August.
3. What am I forgetting?
We had Spider-Man, that was this year, wasn't it?
Yeah, Venom.
Yeah, Venom. Was Spider-Man this year or last year? I think Spider-Man was this year. And then we had Doctor Strange,
Spider-Man
and now we've had Thor.
Oh, so they've had 4.
Yeah. And then I think we've got...
Technically.
There's another one coming soon as well. So
Doctor Strange. Black Panther's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Thor. Oh, they had that stupid fucking Morbius movie.
Yeah, I don't overly count that. That's more of a Sony project, but
yeah, but
like I'm thinking like directly MCU, like Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Thor, and then Black Panther's coming, plus all the TV shows in the middle. Like, no wonder their VFX artists are just run off their feet.
I'm looking now what's coming up this year. I don't know what they've got. I Am Groot.
Yep. She-Hulk starts in about a week.
She-Hulk?
Week or 2.
Go. I Am Groot's the 10th of August. She-Hulk's the 17th of August. Black Panther is November 11.
Mm-hmm.
Then they've got a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's 2023. Like, they've got a thing called What If early 2023. Ant-Man.
Okay, yeah, we're going to go. We can go to there. So basically, I had down the list of. We had Comic-Con recently, and they unveiled the slate for Phase 5 and Phase 6 of the MCU. So Phase 5, we've got Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is a movie on February 17th. Then we get the Disney Plus show Secret Invasion in between Ant-Man and then the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is the next movie on May 5th. A TV show Echo, TV show Loki Season 2, The Marvels film on July 28, 2023, the Blade movie on November 3rd, 2023, Ironheart TV show, Agatha and the Coven of Chaos, which is like the spin-off from WandaVision, Daredevil Born Again, the new Daredevil season, which is 18 episodes, has Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio returning.
Yes!
That gets us through 2023. Then in 2024, we get Captain America New World Order on May 3rd. And then we get the Thunderbolts film on July 6th. And then we move on to Phase 6, which is Fantastic Four movie on November 8th, 2024. Then we get Avengers: The Kang Dynasty on May 2nd, 2025. And then Avengers: Secret Wars on November 5th, 2025. So there is a ton of stuff coming and some very exciting stuff.
Wow. I just want Daredevil. Oh, it's my favourite, my absolute favourite. I'm so happy they kept Charlie Cox.
If you're so excited for Daredevil, that means you're going to have to watch She-Hulk.
Oh, really?
Because she's an attorney, he's a lawyer. He apparently shows up. Apparently Ghost Rider shows up in that movie, in that show as well. Like, since... Did you finished Miss Marvel, yeah?
Yeah.
And you saw the big... So this is going to be a big spoiler for anyone that hasn't. The revelation that Kamala wasn't an Inhuman, she was a mutant. And then I loved how they played the X-Men 97 theme song when they said mutant. So that's the very first reference to mutants directly. The first like suggestion that the X-Men are coming. They're not in some offshoot universe from Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think with She-Hulk, everything, and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is apparently the one that is going to be like, bang, reset. Now we're off to the races, building towards the Avengers movies. So, and I did see Kevin Feige did say that they're not going to have, like, when they have an Avengers movie now, it's not just going to be a random movie in the middle of a storyline. They're holding the 2 Avengers movies as the capstones to finish off a story arc. So we're getting the rest of Phase 4, Phase 5, and then Phase 6 will be wrapping it up. Whatever this Secret Wars Kang Dynasty storyline is.
Yeah, hectic.
Yeah, excited for that.
Yeah, very much so. Wow. Blade's cool because oh man, this is going to be good times.
Loki season 2, that should be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me, it's going to be Blade. I'm excited for the Marvels now that we have that coming. I'm excited to see this Ant-Man movie to see how it changes up everything. But then, yeah, Daredevil is top of the list for me.
Yeah, big time. I love Paul Rudd and I love Ant-Man, but yeah, just the fact that like when you saw Spider-Man and Charlie Cox was in it, I'm just happy that they kept that going. Like out of all, like I did enjoy the Netflix Marvel stuff. It was good, like tie-in before we had Disney Plus and had all this stuff. One was absolutely horrible, but I like Luke Cage. I like Jessica Jones, mainly because I think I have a bit of a crush on that actress in Jessica Jones. But yeah, Daredevil was just the first one I watched. Absolutely insane. Charlie Cox could be blind as far as I'm concerned because he just absolutely nailed that. And the fact that came in for 18 episodes as well.
Yeah, that was
unheard of.
I think that was the big shock of the announcement that it was 18 episodes, not the typical 6. So we're going to get a nice big long storyline there with, I assume, lots of crossover moments.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be American Spring 2024, so that's a long time away.
Yep. And then to close out the Thor discussion, have you seen the box office earnings so far?
Nah.
So they crossed $600 million this week, putting them at 6th highest on the list for 2022, behind Top Gun Maverick at $1.285 billion.
Couple of dollars there.
That's just a few. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness ranked in at number 2 with $954.6 million. Jurassic World Dominion, $921.3 million. The Batman, $770.8 million. And then The Minions Rise of Gru had $642.9 million. No idea how that ranked so high.
Do you know, I know how that ranked so high.
Was that all the people that were going as a joke?
That was all the people that were going in suits in massive groups doing a TikTok trends because it came out at the right time in school holidays. So you've got a bunch of bored teenagers who have nothing to do, who've seen all these TikTok trends of people going around and listening to this song, dressing in suits, just going like this one when they're watching the movie, literally. And yeah, even had Mr. Beast do something about like the biggest YouTuber in the world. That's how it's so high. Like literally, they just latched onto this meme and rode with it. And now, yeah.
Yep. Okay, that'll do it. I did see Mr. Beast crossed like 100 million subscribers this week, which is nuts.
Yeah, insane. Absolutely insane.
Alrighty. So then on to our second sort of main topic for the episode. Jaxon recommended to me a very weird, interesting, awkward heck of a show. I'll leave that one to Jaxon to introduce.
So it's called The Rehearsal, and it's produced by this guy called Nathan Fielder, who had this show called Nathan For You a couple of years ago, and it was the weirdest, funniest show I think I've seen in a long time. Basically, he went forward to businesses and was like, all right, I've got an idea for you to make your business better, like struggling businesses, and he'd go to them and they do it. So, for example, one of the episodes of Nathan For You was he went to a ice cream place, gelato place, and suggested as a way to get people talking on the internet, because the internet's a good place to get your business going many years ago. He engineered a poo-flavored ice cream.
Lovely. That's what I want.
for people to go eat. I mean, if you did that now with how much people talk about eating certain things on the internet. But yes, we did that, and he went to like another like department store and was like, "Why don't you set up like a room out the back for like boyfriends where they can just sit and while women go shop, whatever." So he's got this new show called The Rehearsal. It's on Binge, and basically he finds someone, he sets an ad for someone, and if like the first episode he does this ad on Craigslist or something, and he's like, "Oh, is there something you've ever wanted to confess to someone you don't know how to confess or whatever?" And apparently he's found this guy. A lot of this show, I don't know if I don't think it's real. Like it's too weird.
Yeah.
Like
it's very weird.
But like with it, you don't know if it's real or not because it's America. So there genuinely could be these people in America that like this guy had a problem. He's like, "I'm in a trivia team and I lied that I have like a master's or something." So basically he helps tell the person that he's lied to, like how to admit he was wrong. But he basically like stalks a guy for months, recreates a set and like put all these scenarios, and it's just
it recreated the guy's bloody apartment.
Yeah, full recreated the guy's apartment, went through like found like a similar actor and went through all this stuff, and it's like you don't it's just so awkward. Like you just and that's just his personality, and that's what he's like.
And then like he recreated the entire bar where they play trivia, like
yeah.
so that it was exact. Like even the picture on the wall was like slightly crooked in the exact same way that it is in the trivia bar.
The
to,
balloon
like,
was
try
in
and,
the roof.
Yeah, just to like try and get this guy to feel like when he's doing these rehearsals, it's like a real thing. Like it's not a rehearsal; it is the actual event. And yeah, like you said, just so awkward and so weird and so like I can't tell if it's real or not.
Yeah.
And like the way Nathan acts too, like he's just so deadpan about everything. So he just like, I can't tell, like, is he trying to be funny or is this just the way he is?
Yeah. And like that's what he was like in his previous show, and that's I guess like the way it's all set up. That's why like is this real or not? But then you go back to the whole like how many people are in America and how you still see people get catfished, and there's the show Catfish is still running right now. Like it's like there could be world true, and then like by the end of the episode, like spoiler, he's like, "This is all fake," and the guy's like, "You're a horrible person. Like you suck," and it's just so odd. I can't get my head around it. It's just like I love his first show, but this second show, I'm like, oh. I usually don't like cringy stuff in shows or movies. And this is
this entire show is cringy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did like that. Like it got to the point where at the very end, Nathan had to end up confessing to the guy that he got to come in because it was like, oh yeah, because I wanted to really make sure that we got the outcome that you wanted. I had to find out the trivia questions beforehand, and I knew that cheating was a big issue for you. So I didn't just give you the answers. I hired all these actors to subliminally give you the answers. And I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But I feel like that's kind of like how I pick up all my knowledge for trivia too. Like it's just you watch things and you hear like, oh, this was this, and like you're not physically going out there with the goal of learning this information. You kind of just pick it up through osmosis and things happening around you. But yeah, the guy was not happy to be told that we kind of rigged the system so that you would know all the answers without being directly told them.
Yeah, bloody hell, like so odd.
And then since you recommended it to me, I watched the next 2 episodes as well. The next episode, Nathan brings in a woman who doesn't have a partner, but her life dream was to be a mother. But she's always been too scared to be a mother because she thinks she might stuff it up. So he brings her in to do a motherhood rehearsal. So they bring her in, and I think it's meant to be like 12 weeks or something. So she starts with a newborn, but because they are using child actors, they have to get the parents' permission on basically every decision that she might make. The children can only work for so many hours per day, so they have to sub the children out without her noticing as well, and then to condense it into a full raising a child from birth to them leaving. After so many hours, they sub out a baby for a 2-year-old, and then after another few hours, they sub out a 2-year-old for a 5-year-old. And then in order to not mess with her brain, and after episode 2, somehow Nathan becomes part of the experiment, and he's like in the rehearsal as the dad. And to not mess with the woman and Nathan's brain, all the mirrors in the house are artificial mirrors, so that when they look in the mirror, because the child has grown 6 years, the mirror reflects back a 6-year aged up version of them. And it's just like,
oh no.
And then because they're on a farm growing all their own fruit and veggies, they'll like plant seeds in the morning, and then by the afternoon they'll go out and his whole team has come in and put in full-grown fruits and vegetables that they then pick out. And episode 3 ended on such a funny way, where he's sitting at the bench in the kitchen, she's cooking, and he looks over at one of the capsicums that they've apparently just grown fresh out of the garden and pulled out, and it's sitting there and it's got a grocery store sticker on it. And he's just like, oh, and sometimes you just miss stuff. But yeah, it's super awkward.
Yeah.
Like interesting. Like I'd probably recommend people watch it once just to like get a feel for how weird this show is, but it's not something that's drawing me back to watch every single week. Like, oh, there's a new episode out, I need to check that out.
I was like, that's the thing, Nathan, for you, it was similarly awkward, but it was more interesting in a way because they were like, I've been to uni, I've got an MBA, I help businesses, and it was hella awkward, but it kept drawing me back. Whereas this one, I'm just like, throughout it, like, I don't want to, like, and obviously I've had a big week last week, so I was like, I'm just not going to rush back to watch this because I don't think I can deal with it.
Like, it feels kind of like that Love on the Spectrum, like where I feel like that's awkward to watch, but at least at the end, like, it's got a happy outcome. This one is awkward to watch and then kind of just ends weird. So it's just like, I don't know how to feel after watching this show.
Yeah. I agree.
So yeah, that's everything we've checked out this week. In terms of top recommendations, I think I know which one you're leaning towards.
I mean, I don't remember the last time I went to the movies to see a movie twice. So I'm going Thor. Yeah,
that's a big stamp of approval. For me, like, I wasn't as highly sold on Thor. The Rehearsal is just too awkward. I can't recommend that, other than if you're bored one day and you like have somewhat of an interest in this and just want to see how awkward it is, do that. But for me, I'm going to say, because Daredevil, the new season has been announced, just go back and rewatch all the Daredevil seasons.
That's cheating.
They're on Disney now.
You're cheating.
No, I'm not cheating.
And recommend something else.
They're on Disney, so it's new. It's fresh.
Oh, okay. I'll allow it. I'm going to do that.
So thank you everyone for listening to the commentary booth. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on podcast services and on YouTube. You can follow Jaxon on TikTok at Jax_Carr. And you can follow me on social media at JamieUpsMedia and at Pario Magazine. The Commentary Booth is a fan-funded production of Jamie Apps Media. You can support the podcast alongside our magazine, Pario Magazine, on Patreon at patreon.com/JamieAppsMedia. The following people supported at the community support group level or higher, and you cannot fathom how incredibly appreciative we are for their support. Brian and June Hart, Blake Robinson, Rena Renee, Courtney Paulson, Darren Hatcliffe, Jaxon Carr, and Tracy Apps.